Okay, in this program, I'm going to show you how to do different constructor methods and talk about what the constructor method is. So remember, items don't exist until you call the constructor method. A class is just an idea of something. It tells you what instance variables it's going to have, and it tells you what methods it's going to have. So for example, our instance method, we can think about it as mobility car has a registration plate. Mobility car has a make. Mobility car has a model. Okay, and that's how we need to start talking about things. It's aggregation because it's using it. But if we talked about instance variables as in the object has a and talk about the attribute, then we're talking using the right vocabulary. So my default constructor is when the programmer decides what's going to happen. We very rarely use the default constructor. Sometimes we want to create an instance of an object without providing values, in which case we'd use default. But in the default constructor, we don't pass anything in the parameters. Okay, so we're getting nothing from the method in which it's called. We're just giving it default values. Default value for a string is just null or an empty string. And the default value for double is 0.0, and for integer it's 0. If we did not put this in, Java puts the default in for us. And the default just sets all of these items to the current state that which you can see. Next one, we've got an overridden constructor. So we're going to set the state or the starting state of the instance variables using information that comes through the parameters. Okay, the parameters are the values in the normal boxes. So when I can remember how to spell, we'll get on that. So we've got public mobility car. Then I'm going to open up the normal brackets, and this time I'm going to add the parameters. So I'm going to say string reg plate, and then string name, string model, double cost per kilometre, and double integer mileage. Don't know if you call it mileage when it's kilometres, but that's what we call it where I'm from. Okay, then I'm going to say this.regplate equals the reg plate. This means this instance variable takes on the value that is set in the parameter. So the make becomes make in the parameter, the model takes on the value of the model in the parameter, the cost per kilometre takes on the cost per kilometre in the parameter, and mileage, it takes on the mileage. We have to use this dot so it doesn't get the instance variable mixed up with the parameter. Parameter variables can only be seen within the hug brackets of the constructor in which it's sent into. It can't be seen elsewhere. But the instance variables can be seen throughout the whole class. Next, we're going to do the second overridden constructor. And this constructor is not going to provide the mileage because it's for a brand new car, and brand new cars, well, they have like 10 kilometres on, but we're going to pretend that brand new cars have 0.0 on the clock. So again, public mobility car, saying that I'm going to create a mobility car. This is my second constructor. I'm going to say string reg, string mo, string ma, and double cost. We can call these whatever we want. You just can't call them the same, and you can't have the same number of parameters in different constructors. Okay, but then we say this.reg plate equals reg, so whatever's in reg now becomes the starting value of reg place. This.mod make becomes ma, so whatever's in ma becomes the starting value of make. Whatever's in MO becomes the starting value model. Whatever's in cost becomes cost per kilometre. And as I said, we set mileage to 0. Now I'm going to create a main method. And in my main method, I am going to create a version of each of these cars using a different constructor method. So inside the main method, we're going to have car1, which uses a default constructor, car2, which uses overridden 1, and car 3, which uses overridden 2. So mobility car, because remember you have to tell Java what you want to make. Then you have it give it a name where you're going to store it in memory. So the memory space storing mobility car 1 is called 1, and I call the default constructor. Now we have an instance that exists in memory that we can use. Mobility car 2, the memory space is going to be referred to as 2. It's mobility car, and I'm going to pass in all the parameters. So registration plate, make model, cost per kilometre, and mileage, and these are going to become the starting values for this object. We're now finally going to use the second overridden. So that's mobility car 3. So we're saying, make me a mobility car. I'm going to refer to it as number 3. Create a space in memory for this object. Then I've called the constructor, so I now have the object. And I'm going to say the registration plate is, and give it a registration plate number. I'm going to give it a name and a model and a cost per kilometre. But I'm not going to give it a mileage because it's a brand new car and it's going to be set at 0. So this is using the second overridden constructor. I forgot to create a toString method, show functionality, so I'm now going to write that in. Remember, string to string, we can return all of the instance variables in the class in a beautiful sentence so we can see it. If you do not do it, the default is to just show you the memory location, so you just get an @ sign and lots of different things. Alright, now if I go to the main method, I can't press play, and that's because I spelled main with a capital M. I'll notice this in a second and change it. But I want to print out each of the values, so 1, 2, and 3. There you go, I've noticed. Now I can run it. As you can see, they've all got the starting values that we think they should have. And that's it.